Hey, it's Chris with Clinician Connection here, and I'm hanging out with Amy, who is going to be one of our just amazing speakers at this April's conference. And Lisa and I are continuing to have these conversations with folks just to share with you to see a little bit more about what's going on, who we're bringing, what everybody's about. So, Amy, thank you for taking a minute to hang out with me, and it's great to talk to you here face to face, or I guess digitally face to face.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks so much. I'm really excited. I get to talk about one of my favorite things, which is the brain. So I get
yeah.
super excited. Yeah.
Well, shoot, let's just hop onto that. We'll just go right for it. We're looking to put when Lisa and I decided to put this conference together, two things that were really important to us were that the people who came to speak or be part of our conference were passionate about what they're talking about and have some real in the muck experience with it. Not just somebody. This is not like to hate on anybody. Lots of great people out there, but not my key line has been I'm not somebody who's just read a bunch of articles and books and is now going to come talk to you about what I read. This is stuff that
Right.
I've worked with or that I'm passionate about or it's maybe even personal to me. So like you're coming in to talk with us about trauma and the brain. Man, like why is that important to you? Like why do you find passion in that topic?
Well, I'll tell you, my passion is more in the brain science, frankly, than it is into the trauma science. And in our
Okay.
field, maybe that's sort of a controversial thing to say. As a mental health clinician, I certainly deal with trauma on a daily basis, just like most of us do. But my doctorate is in developmental neuroscience. And so the idea of trauma that starts from birth or childhood trauma or, young adult trauma that lends itself to later in life challenges is that's where my passion is. So that brain sort of science around that and how every sort of traumatic moment sort of plants a seed that could either grow or die. And how do we as clinicians and parents and teachers and community members, how do we encourage the limited growth of the trauma in the brain and or stop it? And
Yeah.
so that's sort of where the focus of that particular talk is, around how trauma really kind of F's with your brain and from the very, very beginning, prenatally. So I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm super
Yeah,
passionate about it. Yeah.
I'm curious where in your life, where did that become a passion point for you? Of all the things you could be passionate about, why do you think this one came to you or stuck with you?
Well, it's funny because I was kind of a crazy overachiever in college. I was a triple major in education, psychology, and in English. And so when I graduated from college and then went on to well, no, I didn't. I graduated from college and I worked as a teacher, as a sixth grade teacher. And I had gone to private school for all my life, elementary to kindergarten to 12th grade, and we didn't have a school counselor. So I didn't know what that job was. I didn't know that was a job. So when I was teaching, I'd always been interested in the brain and education and learning and like learning science and stuff like that. And so again, went into education and then went into middle school, which in and of itself is like a whole thing, right?
Oh
So
boy.
I was in middle school teaching English, but I said to my girlfriend who I'd graduated from college with, like, it's way more fun for me to deal with the like divorce and like the serious, things that are happening in these people's lives and all the things that they're going through, the traumas, the trials, the tribulations, et cetera, of being a middle schooler, than it is teaching English. And she said, well, why don't you
Hmm.
become a school counselor? And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was a job. And so then I went and got my master's degree and realized that I could use what I knew about learning and the brain and education to then translate into what essentially, at least in schools, turns out to be sales around mental health care. Like you really have to sell it. Because they're kids. You have to sell why should you be thinking about your emotions? Why should you be
Right.
thinking about not punching the kid that's sitting next to you that chews too loud? And so I was good at that, and then continued on that for quite a while and then went and got a doctorate so that I could do more with it. And I guess now in hindsight, maybe I would maybe I would do something in counselor education supervision, but I love what I do in this area. And it just has lent
Yeah.
itself to this kind of beautiful synergy of understanding brain and learning science, along with like I have a lot of business acumen, and then this being able to then reteach it in the supervision sort of dynamic. So I don't know. That's sort of my life story, but
Yeah,
that's how
no,
it kind
that's
of happened.
awesome. I mean, I'm currently in a neuroanatomy class for my doctoral program, and I'm sure it's not going to take me to the depths of where your studies have taken you, but one of the things I've enjoyed just being a couple weeks into this class is understanding how the machinery works and just how helpful that can even be in some of my clinical work with folks to say like, hey, I know you were feeling bad, but like you may just have something that's going a little sideways with how the machinery is working,
Well,
you
right,
know.
or how it's chemically working. You could
Right.
organically be having something happening. And so yeah, I'm actually sort of, I don't know, in my abundant free time, which is a joke, writing a book called The Everyday Mind. Because I do believe exactly what you're learning, Chris, is, we get, like a little brain science in lots of different places in our education journey, but being able to teach people about their own brains to the extent that then they can use it. It's kind of like if you were allowed to buy a Ferrari or a Tesla, I think is more complicated. But anyway, you were allowed to buy a really complicated car, but you couldn't turn it on. You couldn't
Right.
drive it. I mean, the brain is the most complex problem solving machine in the world. And so to not know how your own brain functions is such a
Yeah.
bummer. It's really
Yeah. Well,
kind of a loss.
yeah.
So
And as a clinician, I really value the idea of, my folks come in with depression, anxiety, trauma, whatever it is they're navigating through, and they feel bad or ashamed or embarrassed or weak, to be able to say, there's nothing to be ashamed about, man. Your brain is doing this for this function and
right.
really to help you survive or get through. So it's not like you have a moral weakness or a character flaw. There could be something with your biology that's just contributing to this, and we'll work through it. So
Right. It's
I'm
interesting. I'll
excited.
tell your audience a secret so that when they're in
Okay.
the session, they'll know the answer to this question. But I always ask the question, like, what is your brain's purpose? Like, what is your brain for? And I would say 90% of the time, the audience says learning to read,
Can I try to
learning to
guess?
walk. Pardon me?
Can I try to guess before you give the
Yeah, go
answer?
ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think, is it to keep you safe and alive?
To keep you alive. Yeah. So safety is a secondary goal to being alive, because safety is sort of something we've created as a an understanding of how our body is in space. But keeping your heart beating and your lungs working is your body's only goal, and I mean your brain's only goal. And so anything else it does is in response to that
Right.
and is in support of that. And so I love revealing that to people, any age, because when they start to really think about, well, God, my brain is actually really functioning well because it's helping me dissociate when it's really
Right.
unsafe and hard for me to deal. Or it's helping me, get out of breath when I'm starting to feel panicky and that makes me sit down and stop so that I'm not going to, get overworked. I just think it's really fun to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you and me are so aligned on that. I could talk about that forever with you. But that's
That's fun.
no, because I try to with my own clients say, hey, a lot of the times your symptoms that you're experiencing, whether they're helpful or not helpful at the moment, we can debate, but your brain is trying to get you to a good place with this, right?
Right.
You're sad so that you can slow down and pay attention to what's going on around you. You're anxious so that you can avoid a potential threat. So, now,
Right.
again, whether it is real, of real concern, that might be something we have to hammer out. But that's what your brain is trying to do. So, to be able to say, thank you, brain. your solution is not helpful right now, but thank you for trying.
Exactly, exactly. And then the exciting secondary part of that is that your brain has the capacity to move past it, to heal it. And, is it, a lot of people say, oh, well, then is it completely gone? No, of course, your amygdala stores everything forever. So no, you don't lose memories necessarily. I mean, they're not lost is a weird word in brain science, but they don't go anywhere. But you learn to manage, your brain learns to manage the physical symptoms that come with these thoughts, and you learn to sort of separate yourself,
Yeah,
from that. And your brain can heal in so many amazing ways, which we didn't even really know 20 years ago. So when I started in this field, it's very different now. I think it's so funny. Someone said to me the other day, have you ever heard of SMART goals? And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what do you ask? Of course, I'm 50 years old. I've been doing this forever. Of course, I know what a SMART goal is. Like, oh, I've never heard that before. I'm like, okay. So
yeah,
we've come a long way in terms of understanding science and how the brain works to do things for us.
sure, sure. Well, you sound very excited and passionate about this. I am so glad that you're coming to be part of our conference.
Thanks.
I am curious to ask you. I mean, I know you know my partner Lisa. You've known her for some time. When you're presented with this idea of, hey, we're gonna throw a conference, you're in a position to say yes or no if you want to participate. What drew you in to want to be a part of what we're doing?
So I have two rules for anything I do, any partnership I have, or any, opportunity. And that is that it's a win-win.
Okay.
So, meaning it's a win for you and it's a win for me. So, I love talking about this. I love the audience opportunity to speak about my area of passion. Your conference isn't very far away from my house, so I don't have to fly anywhere. It's a lot. There are a lot of wins, of course, and I care a great deal about Lisa, so I would do anything for her. So, many wins. But the secondary goal is that, or requirement is that it be fun. And so, if it's not going to be fun, then I don't want to do it because life's too short to not do things that are fun, and be in partnership with people who are fun and who want what's best for our clinical community moving forward. Their agenda is really to learn and grow together,
Yeah.
not creating any kind of divisions or any kind of like, competition or anything like that. That's just not me. I'm way more about linking up with other people and doing things together because I believe that a high tide raises all ships. And so that's my philosophy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that's one of the things we're really striving for is that this isn't just another stodgy networking workshopy thing. Like dude, come to the beach, hang out, meet some cool people, hit a happy hour. If the weather is nice enough, hop in the water for a little bit, um, and just have a good time learning from some people who are passionate and know what they're talking about. Uh, so yeah, we're just excited to have you with us for that. One thing I always like to ask people in our field is, if you weren't doing mental health work, like what other type of work do you see? Like my answer to that is always like a chef. I think I'd be a chef. Um, I'm not good at it at all. I just think it would be cool to do. What would be kind of like your multiverse if, Amy in another universe, what kind of
Yeah.
work could you see her doing?
If it was completely separate from what I do now, so no, I wouldn't be allowed to teach or, like work in this field at all. My husband owns a toy store, and
Oh, that's
I
fun.
would run a retail store. So I would sell stuff to people that they
That's
want.
fun. A toy
Um,
store. That's awesome.
yeah, it is pretty fun. It's annoying sometimes too, but it is pretty
Oh,
fun.
I
So I
bet.
think, yeah, I'd sell stuff that people want to people. Like I don't want to like call people and stuff, but I would own a retail store with cute stuff.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I appreciate you just taking some time to chat, hang out with
Of
us.
course.
Is there anything else you want to share about what people can expect from your time with them at the conference, or anything you want to share before we call it a day here?
I don't think so. I just want everyone to come, ready to enjoy sort of learning and take away immediately things that they can use in their next session, because I think that that's one of the keys in our field is, giving people actionable items that they can actually, translate and use in their next session. So I would want everyone to be prepared, to be able to translate what we talk about in session right into their offices.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm sure it's going to be great. We're looking forward to having you. Thank you for
Thanks.
hopping on and catching up with me.
Of course. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it, Chris.
All right, Amy. Bye.
Bye.